No choice you ever made was your own. You have always been a prisoner. What if I told you I'm here to set you free?
Welcome back. Today I have something really different for you guys. Normally I just do video game stuff, but today I want to talk about Westworld. Series started last night on HBO and I'm obsessed with it. And the reason why I thought this was a great crossover for this channel is because Westworld is the ultimate video game in virtual reality. So let's talk about that and break it down. So for the themes for the show are dreams, oppression, control, and games, which this whole show is based around. I don't do reviews of shows or movies, but this seems so close to the gaming world. I wanted to talk about it, considering I just did a theory video for Inside, the game Inside, and I thought it was relevant. And I saw a lot of similarities in the game to this show. When I saw the show, Westworld to me is the ultimate massive multiplayer role-playing game with no rules, no consequences. This is virtual reality fully realized. This show on HBO was based off a 1973 movie by Michael Crichton called Westworld. But this is a series. Westworld was a movie. Also, in the movie, there are a few differences. So in the movie, the corporation was called Delos. The company ran 3 separate worlds. The Roman world, one was the medieval world, and one was Westworld. And the HBO show is based solely in Westworld. In the show, they talk about a critical failure that happened 30 years ago. They don't say what happened, but after seeing the show, I had seen Westworld many years ago, but I didn't remember it, so I went back and I watched it today. In the movie, there is a rogue robot who goes off script, and he starts killing the humans in Westworld. And they allude to that in the show. In the movie, they talk about how some of the robots are going off script. Some of them are acting a little funny. They're not complying with what they were programmed to do, and they refer to it as a disease. Which is really interesting because today we would call that a computer virus. And when Michael Crichton wrote this, it was a year before an actual computer virus was discovered. So very compelling to know that history before our time of knowing everything about computers. He wrote this before any of this actually happened, which was so brilliant. So they don't mention a computer virus in the show, but there is something else happening. There is an awakening. All right, so some backstory. When we first visit Westworld, there are robots called the hosts. They are the AI. They work at Westworld. They make all of the virtual reality dreams come true for the visitors, who are the humans, who are called the Newcomers. It is an incredibly immersive world, down to the very last blade of grass. This world has been exhaustively constructed by Dr. Robert Ford, who is played by Sir Anthony Hopkins. He is a brilliant man with a God complex. He is quite literally playing God. Now, these hosts, these robots, the AI, are here for our amusement, our pleasure, but they don't know it. They have memories, but at the end of every day, when they go to sleep, their memories have been erased. So they have no recollection of what happened, what horrors, no manipulation. They have no recollections of what happened to them the day before or years before. The Newcomers are allowed to do anything they want to the hosts. They're there for our pleasure, our manipulation. It's horrifying. You find yourself feeling pity, sadness, empathy for these hosts who are just unwilling participants in this world. The humans who are called the Newcomers are looking for an authentic experience. There's one scene in the show where the hosts are putting on a show. It's a scripted event where they're these, vicious bank robbers, they're evil ne'er-do-wells, and they're shooting up the town, and they're taking over. So one of the Newcomers comes in and they just kill the bank robbers, and they are delighted. They are squealing in delight. And then one of the Newcomers, the humans, actually say, "Ha!" laughing. "Look at that one wriggle," after they shot one of them dead. It is horrifying. They actually pose with the the bodies. Then they pose with the dead bodies of the hosts afterwards as a souvenir. It's incredibly horrifying and unnerving. So this leads us to the question about what are sentient beings. versus these engineered beings. What is real? Who is real? And what is our consciousness? So one of the main themes, very heavy-handed in the show, they talk about dreams. It's one of the overall themes. They refer to the newcomers, one of the main characters, Dolores, who is the oldest host in the park. She speaks of the newcomers, and she says the newcomers are here to stake out their dreams. And they are, the corporation, the administrators who are running this whole world. They ask Dolores if she wants to wake up out of her dream, and she says no. When they need to shut the hosts down, they use a phrase. Soon this will all feel like a distant dream. Until then, may you rest in a deep and dreamless slumber. Dolores then, when they say this to Dolores, when she's like freaking out over, this shootout that just happened, and her boyfriend, Teddy, another main character portrayed by James Marsden. Dolores is played by Evan Rachel Wood, who's brilliant in it. So when her boyfriend, Teddy, gets shot and killed during this shootout, crying, she's upset. She doesn't want to leave his dead body in the street. So one of the admins who are coming to do a cleanup of the whole, scene, she says this phrase to her. When she's done with the phrase, Dolores beeps and she collapses into a deep sleep. This is the code word for their shutdown/sleep mechanism. Another main theme of the show is control. The hosts have their scripts. They are programmed to only deviate minimally from their scripts, to ad-lib a little bit to make the performance more believable for the newcomers. They want to make the experience for the newcomers more realistic and incredibly immersive. And the hosts are all controlled by Dr. Ford. They all think they are in a dream. They are never to question the nature of their reality. Their days are scripted and on a loop. It's the same thing every day. They have the same scripted dialogue choices over and over every day. Everyone knows what part they have to play, what their scripts are. They know what the person they're talking to is going to say to them next. It's been done over 1,000,000 times. But one of the rules of Westworld is that newcomers cannot be harmed. The hosts are programmed to be completely peaceful, so much so as to not even harm a fly. And what's so chilling is when they are talking and there's a fly crawling over their eye and they don't even react to it. They don't have a reaction to it. So it's incredibly disturbing to see that, and how they won't even protect themselves from something as harmless as a fly. Another one of the themes is oppression. All of the hosts are oppressed to be used for whatever we decide we want to do with them. At our whim, at our manipulation, we can manipulate them to do anything we want. At this point in time, in this first episode, there are 1,400 newcomers just in Westworld. So the world is enormous. It's so huge. So to have all those moving parts, all of those scripted timelines, everything going on at the same time to be pulled off perfectly every day, takes a lot of, control to do that. And this is why the hosts have to be kept so oppressed, so tightly controlled, and why they are oppressed by the administration, while they are also oppressed by the newcomers. There are no consequences to any of the guests' actions. The hosts have an artificial consciousness. They do not feel pain. So the newcomers are allowed to do whatever they want to them. There are many interconnecting narratives within the lives of the hosts. The hosts have their own paths. Dolores talks about paths a lot in this show. They cannot deviate from the path. These characters, these hosts, are living fully realized, fully functioning lives that happen within the construct of this world. So the man in black, the mysterious man in black, he is based off the rogue robot from the movie that they refer to in the show when it was the critical failure, the critical malfunction. And they refer to him that there hasn't been a critical malfunction in 30 years. So we are assuming this is the man in black from the original movie when he went rogue and went off script and went offline and just started killing the humans. He was like the Terminator before we had the movie The Terminator. Even his vision was kind of like 8-bit, something that we didn't see until The Terminator, which was years before The Terminator came out, which was just so brilliant. When we see him in the show, he is this brutal and ruthless newcomer, but he's been coming here for 30 years. So we're assuming since the reopening after the malfunction, has been coming here for 30 years. And he is reveling in the debauchery and the horror and the violence. And he has been taking full advantage of this world for all this time. And, you wonder, is the man in black some sort of higher functioning robot? Is he actually human, or is he a robot? Is he part of this construct? But no, because he is a newcomer, because he cannot be killed. Because when Teddy tries to protect Dolores from him, he shoots him and nothing happens to him. His goal seems to be awakening the hosts to what their lives really are. He wants them to know that this is all a facade. This world is not real. He seems so intent on awakening them. But why? If he enjoys coming here so much, if he enjoys living this, manipulative, violent lifestyle with them in this world, why does he want to awaken them? Which is so interesting to me, which I want to know what his motivations are. He goes so far as kidnapping one of the hosts, this poor car dealer guy who works in one of the saloons. He kidnaps him and he actually scalps him to see what his inner mechanisms are. He wants to see what literally makes him tick. And you see him when he's riding off on the horse, he has his scalp with him, just the scalp. And it looks like a puzzle. It looks like one of those mazes when you have to find your way in and then you have to go through your way out. And he is trying to find out what that means. But why? Why does he want to find out what that means? It's so unnerving. So has this man in black have become a self-aware host? Is he trying to free our oppressed slaves from this world? This Westworld? So another theme is games. This is all a game that's being played over and over again. So when the man in black actually talks to the dealer that he kidnapped, he asks him, "You know about games, don't you? This is a complicated one. There's a deeper level to this game. You're going to show me how to get there." This world is all a game for the newcomers to play and for the host to be manipulated and controlled by. This show reminded me so much of the game Inside, with the same themes of oppression, control. I just saw a lot of parallels within the game and the show. We slowly see the cracks start to form and the AI hosts start becoming self-aware. There are questions that they are not supposed to ask. Dolores' father tries to get Dolores to leave. He completely breaks down because he sees a modern-day photograph that, was it dropped by accident or was it planted by someone? It's a modern day photograph and he can't relate to it. His programming cannot compute what the image is, and it causes him to have a malfunction, almost like a stroke. So he starts to have a nervous breakdown, like if that's possible for an AI. He has a mental breakdown, and it causes him to malfunction. So they bring him in, they decommission him. The actor who played him was brilliant. I mean, he practically stole the show in this end scene with him when he's being questioned by Anthony Hopkins. They decommission him, and the next day he's replaced by yesterday's saloon keeper who got shot in the bar room bank robber fight, and Dolores keeps to her script as if nothing has changed. He says his lines, she says her lines. But before the father is decommissioned, he tries to warn Dolores. He knows something's not right. He whispers to her, "These violent delights have violent ends." As soon as I heard that, I'm a huge Shakespeare fan. I knew that this was straight from Romeo and Juliet. This was from Friar Lawrence's talk he was having with Romeo. And I saw the parallels immediately between Teddy and Dolores, the boyfriend and girlfriend. There's just parallels to them and Romeo and Juliet because they are in this version of Westworld where they are in love, but they are destined to have their tragic ending, like Romeo and Juliet. So Dolores now starts questioning. You can see it happening a little bit, that after her father tries to warn her, she also starts to question. After a child comes up to her, one of the newcomers, and, like an innocent child, he's looking at her and he says, "You're one of them. You're not real." And she's like, "Okay, it's time to go home." Like she starts to push these thoughts out of her mind and just tries to go about her script. Okay, now she's got to follow her script and do what she has to do. But by the end of the show, Dolores is, out on the porch with her new father, the replaced father. And she's just sitting out there looking at the beautiful world. So there's a fly that's buzzing around her, and she absentmindedly slaps it away. It was so unnerving when she did that because she's become self-aware, or she wouldn't have been able to do that. I mean, that has never happened in the history of this programming, she's becoming aware and she's having an awakening, because they're specifically programmed not to do any harm, not even to harm a fly, something as inconsequential as a fly. Is she experiencing a glitch, or is she becoming self-aware? They have no memories of the prior day or prior years. They relive the same paths over and over again with a clean slate every day when they wake up. This just leads to have more questions than answers. Who is real in this show? What is real? They feel pain, sadness, happiness, joy, love, fear. They think, move, and calculate. Is this AI a new dawning of consciousness, or is it an amalgamation of both? The world is incredibly immersive and beautifully crafted. I absolutely loved it. I'm obsessed with it. This is like sci-fi. This is right up my alley. This show could quite possibly foretell the future of absolute virtual reality. What do you think? Leave me a comment. Have you seen the show? Did you like it? What did you think of it? Let me know in the comments. And if there are any other shows like this that directly correlate to video games, I will try and do something like this. But I so wanted to share this with you guys because I felt it had so many themes. This is virtual reality. This is the next level video game. Complete immersion. So let me know what you guys think. Leave me a comment. Thanks so much for supporting this channel. We're so close to 1,000 subs. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And I'll be back with more.